Well, next up, we have Fleet and Family's Jamie Brunson to deliver the power of a mentor. It's already been brought up several times from other speakers, but we are here to learn just exactly how powerful that guidance has been through a mentor. So here we are. It's Jamie.
Yes, and having a mentor is very important. I can honestly say by personal experience, I would not be where I am today without my mentor. I have a few mentors, but one in particular um, really changed my life and really the trajectory of where I was going. I actually when I started my bachelor's program, my goal was to go to law school. I wanted to put all the bad guys in jail. I wanted to be that person that was like, yes, you're going to jail forever, right? But I had a really great mentor. What was funny is I wanted to be a lawyer, but I didn't. I'm an extrovert that doesn't like to talk in front of people. So this mentor kind of gradually, she would say, okay, well, we're going to, in this class, we would set up a rally and she would say, okay, I really need somebody to read this poem for this rally, and I can't find anybody, Jamie, I know I can count on you. Would you do this? And I was like, yes, I can do that. And she'd give me this poem and I'm looking down the whole time reading this. And then the next thing would come up and she'd say, oh, I need you to introduce the speaker because I don't have anybody. And so she kept doing this to me. And she took me from this wallflower extrovert to somebody that I was like, then she was like, hey, can you present for me at this conference? And I'm, oh yeah, sure, let's go and do it. So a mentor can be very, very valuable, and they can help you in your goals and in your process and in your career as you're moving along. And they can help you in things like, you know, dealing with talking in front of crowds or finding jobs. So if you want to go ahead and move to the next slide. So some of the reasons why we need a mentor, my question, I usually ask whenever I do the value of the mentor webinar for anyone that wants to sign up is, do you have a mentor already? And what I see a lot of times, like I did this on our big CNICLMS last month, I believe. And when I asked, it was about half and half. Like some people had a mentor and the other half didn't. And I think that's something that it's important that you need to kind of understand the reasons why you need a mentor. Mentor is somebody that can kind of guide us through this learning process. And not only are they guiding us, but they're providing critical feedback, things that, they're just not going to tell you everything's great if something's not. They're going to give you that critical feedback as well, the criticism, right? That's going to help you, constructive criticism. Somebody that is a mentor, they should be in the role that you want to be in. If I use the example of, we had somebody that's at our headquarters, our Fleet and Family, headquarters. She was in my class, and I said, so if you want her job, you kind of find mentors that are in positions that led to her job. Maybe you can't use her as a mentor because she's a little bit higher in the headquarters status, but you can work your way up to possibly asking her to be a mentor. So it's very important to understand that when you're getting a mentor, or understanding why you need a mentor, is you need to understand that you need to find somebody that is experienced in the role that you want to be in, and that they have the same kind of interest or experience in things that you're interested in and your goals. So make sure when you're looking for a mentor, if you don't have one already, think about the qualities and experience that you most value, and that's going to be what's going to help you most with a mentor. So if you want to go ahead and move on to the next slide. This is one thing that I do in all my classes. I talk about, in order to understand the value of a mentor, you need to really look at first what a mentor is. So the definition of a mentor is an experienced or more knowledgeable leader who becomes a trusted guide and advisor to a mentee for long-term professional development. A mentor may be assigned, or it comes naturally. More often than not, it comes naturally. I didn't seek a mentor out of any of my professors, but I ended up having some great mentors from my professors when I was in school. And then, now my current boss, I haven't asked, hey, will you be a mentor? But she's mentoring me because it's natural. And that's something that I really like about finding mentor is having or understanding that, yes, you can use things like Veterati to find um, mentors, which that is veterati.com, and they have free services for veterans and spouses to find mentors in your field. And they have a list of people that have volunteered, and you can go and look and say, okay, well, if I want to get into human resources, let me find anyone that's in human resources. And you could send them a message. Hey, I'm really wanting to be in human resources, and I'm really would like to find a mentor. And so you could talk to them and try to build that kind of mentor mentee relationship. So you can do things like that, but a lot of times it grows naturally, and either way is good. The important part is that you have a mentor. Next slide, please. So some of the things that when you think about the functions of a mentor, when you're looking at why you need a mentor, you need to understand the functions. Mentors do things like your coaching, your counseling. They challenge you. They challenge you. Friendship is something that, some people say, well, should you really be friends with your mentor? Are they supposed to be a friend? Or are they supposed to be just kind of that person that helps you through? And then they also, a mentor, a function of it is that they help you with your goals and development. Um, so coaching, when you're talking about a mentor that coaches, there's someone who's going to help you develop your skills and capabilities in order to better your chances or better your chances to succeed in your goals. Mentors can be anyone from a coworker, a boss, a professor. It could be a friend that you've talked to. I was surprised at how many people that are actually serving didn't have mentors, because I think within the military, everybody should definitely have a mentor to, continue on the progress to move forward. Where then once you transition, it's important to find somebody that can mentor you into where you want to go. So a mentor is going to be coaching. They're going to do things like counseling. So a part of that is providing this safe, non-threatening environment. You may talk to the mentor about what's going on in your current workforce. Maybe there's some issues. You feel comfortable talking to your mentor about any kind of difficulties or any kind of sensitive questions. It could be something, if you see a job that you would like, you may talk to your mentor about that as well. And, they may be the one to look at your resume and say, okay, I know you really want this job, but you really don't qualify for it. But let's talk about what you can do to make sure that maybe once this job's available again, that you do qualify for it. So a mentor is going to really sit down and counsel you and help you understand, what you need to do to progress further. The most important function to me, in my opinion, is how a mentor challenges you. So a mentor should challenge you to consider where you are in your career plan and what your future goals are. A strong mentor, they want their protege to take these proactive steps in their learning and development. So they're going to challenge the mentee, and they're going to provide that critical feedback whenever there's any kind of success or any steps that you've make. And the important part of having a mentor is they're going to help you step outside of your comfort zone. Like my story with my mentor, I didn't like talking in front of crowds, but guess what? She got me out of my comfort zone, and I started realizing, like, hey, I like talking to people. What's the difference between talking to one or two people or talking to 100 people? And so I went from, maybe reading a poem to sitting on a conference panel where I'm among my peers, which can be disconcerting when you're among your peers and you're trying to talk. Okay, I'm an expert in this and I'm talking to you, but you're also an expert. So you know what I'm saying. And if I mess up, you get in your head, and a mentor is going to help you get out of your head and realize that, you wouldn't be asked to talk in certain scenarios, certain conferences, rallies, or things like that if you weren't an expert. So they're really going to get you out of out of your comfort zone. The question of should a mentor also be a friend? That's one thing that people ask. Well, would if there's a friendship, would they then turn around and maybe not provide that constructive criticism that you need? Would they, treat you more like a friend, and not a mentor? So what I say is you have to kind of look at it this way. Don't confuse a mentor with an advisor. An advisor is going to be somebody that is just giving you the information, and they don't have any kind of personal gain or out of this. So a mentor is a friendship of a mentor, I think, to me is really an essential component, because if an advisor is just going to say, yes, this job would be good for you, here's how you qualify, and they have no personal connection to it, where a mentor is going to look and they're going to help you move forward to that goal to make sure you get that job that you want. So they have that connection. And keep in mind that when you're talking about a mentor-mentee friendship, it doesn't have to entail these personal entanglements, and there do have to be certain boundaries. Don't expect, to call up your mentor and say, hey, you want to go to Mardi Gras this weekend? We can go bar hopping and things like that. I mean, that's not what a mentor is for. There's a friendship, but it's, I guess, look at it as maybe a professional friendship. So I do think that you can be friends with a mentor, but just make sure you understand that you can be friends with that mentor without having that hangout section. Keep them as that professional friendship, and know that they're going to invest in your future because they actually care about you, which is something that you don't always get in an advisor. And if an advisor is investing in your future, then they are more of a mentor and not an advisor. And then when you look at the goals and goal setting, that really is the foundation of a mentor-mentee relationship, because they want you to be successful. You want to be successful. So they're going to help you clarify and accomplish the goals that you set forward. And so when you meet up with a mentor, they're going to ask you things like, hey, can you clarify what it is you want to accomplish? How can I help you accomplish your goals? They're going to help determine the feasibility. If I went to my mentor and said, I think that I want to be president of Oshner, they're going to say, okay, first of all, Jamie, you have no experience in the health field. So if you're going to want that position, here's what you're going to have to do. And first of all, it's going to have to go back to college to get some degrees in probably, some kind of health field and business management. I don't even know what all I would need if I wanted to be the president of, a huge medical system like that. But they're going to help you determine the feasibility and help you work towards that goal. They're not going to have you work towards a goal that you can't accomplish. And that's one thing that's great about a mentor. They're going to help you establish benchmarks, because how often have you worked on a goal and then you just kind of feel let down when you don't make that goal? Well, do baby steps. It's kind of like losing weight. You don't want to say, okay, I want to lose 100 pounds and think it's going to happen overnight, right? Okay, I think right now I'm going to focus on losing 20 pounds. And then you get that, and then you feel that rush, like, oh wow, now I can do this. And that's what a mentor is going to help you do in your professional field. Is, okay, let's do these small little benchmarks that are going to lead you to that huge goal. And they're also going to help you set a realistic timeline. Again, going back, if I said I wanted to be a CEO of some big company, it's not going to happen overnight. It's not going to happen in a year. It's probably going to take maybe a decade. I mean, I can imagine that it's going to take quite a bit of time, especially if I have no experience in that field at that time when I say, yeah, I think I'm going to switch careers. So they're really going to help you set a realistic timeline. The big thing is that they're going to help you track your progress as well. So when you go to them one day and you say, I just don't feel like I'm moving in a positive direction for my goal, they may stop and say, hey, wait, stop. Let's look at this. What have you accomplished? Well, you went from this to this, And then there's somebody that's really going to help you track that progress. Mentors are really amazing, and it's really important to just keep in mind that there's so many things that they can do to help you along, but you also have to want to help yourself. And so if you have these goals and you really would like to move forward, a mentor is going to be the one to help you. They're not going to tell you. If you have a mentor that tells you what you should do, they're not a mentor. Because their goal isn't to make you like them. Their goal is to help you be the best you. Next slide, please. So there's three types of mentors. You have the assessor, and this mentor is the one that just they provide valuable feedback, initial reactions, and they will help provide insights to their mentee through assessment and evaluation. So this type of mentor is kind of like that sounding board, and they're going to guide you to discover this deeper understanding of the situation. So when you have a goal, they're going to really ask those deep questions. My mentor was the next one, the challenger. So think about it. Have you ever had this coach or mentor who constantly pushed you beyond your comfort zone? That is a challenger mentor. They fill these roles utilizing this questioning attitude, and they hold you accountable for your goals. So if you set a goal of 1 month to complete a certificate program that you found online that said that it would take 1 month. If you don't meet that goal, a mentor is going to hold you accountable for that. They're going to challenge you. You know, why didn't you meet that goal? Come on, you can do this. So they really act as a role model. And then your last type of mentor is a supporter. And as the name implies, these are the ones that provide encouragement by doing things like empathizing with you. They may, they're rewarding efforts, like, hey, you had this goal to complete this certification and you did it. And they really support your development. You can have multiple mentors. I think Patrick even said that, he said he had 3, if I remember correctly. Multiple mentors can really play this diverse role. And so, for example, you may have a senior mentor that will help you in your career, but then you might have peer mentors that are going to help you exchange ideas and share experiences. So having multiple members or multiple mentors is really going to be the best thing you can have. Have somebody that's in your career field, have somebody that's in your company, have somebody that's outside kind of looking in. My mentor, my main mentor, I should say, was my professor, and I actually teach for my alma mater as well, in addition to being a employment specialist at Fleet and Family. So now she's one of my colleagues. And so I really count on her a lot. And she continues to challenge me. She was there for me when I didn't have a job and I was, looking, trying to, determine where I wanted to go. So the right mentor can really change your career. And that's something that you definitely want to keep in mind. Let me see here. If you want to go to the next slide, please. All right, so I talked a little bit about some of this when we talk about multiple members. Things that you want to keep in mind when trying to find a mentor is to know your goal. Know what you want to accomplish professionally within the next 3 months, within the next 6 months, within the next year. So know that before you start thinking about a mentor. Write down your SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. So write those down. Who do you look up to? So whose job do you want to have? My current position, I'm a work and family life specialist. And then within the work and family life, I'm an employment specialist. So what position do I want next? Do I want my supervisors, who's the work and family life supervisor? And if that's the case, then I want to kind of look inside her role. What does she do? And I want to kind of emulate her. And so kind of maybe utilize what she says. My boss is amazing. She's constantly giving us not only encouragement, telling us when we are, A plus, doing a great job, but she also gives us constructive criticism. So she acts as a mentor to all of us. Even though we don't call her a mentor, she acts in that role. So who do you look up to? I look up to my supervisor, and every time we have a role, which we do currently have a role open as a work and family life specialist, or it's a work and family life contractor. But so we have one. And when I talk to people about it, I say, this would be a great position because I do respect my boss so much. So who do you look up to? When you're trying to find a mentor, do your research. You may not be able to ask somebody to be a mentor. Like, I talked about the headquarters of the work and family life advisor. I can't just send her an email and say, hey, can you be my mentor? Because that's going out of that chain of command, right? So if that's the goal, like if that was my goal to be in her position, I need to do the research. Who can I get to be a mentor to direct me into that role? So it might start with my boss and then go to somebody else, like maybe to a director, and keep going forward. Cognitive. Be aware of your existing network. I'm sorry, I'm like tongue tied. Be aware of your existing network. So there may be somebody in your network that's already mentoring you that you don't realize is actually a mentor. And so, again, my main mentor, it kind of just happened. It was natural. She just kept directing me and leading me to being the best me, to where I got to the point. And I said, hey, you've been mentoring me all this time. And she just says, oh, no, it's no big deal. No, yes, it was. And I said, you don't realize what you've done for me and how my life has been affected by you just being there and helping me along the way. And so at that point, I said, will you be my mentor? Because you've already been doing the job. And so now I kind of want it in this professional aspect where she knows, like, hey, we have this mentor mentee relationship. So be aware of those people that are in your life that are already mentoring you, because they can definitely continue to help you. And so make sure that the person that you have, or the people that you have as a mentor, make sure that they have the expertise that you're looking for. And then finally, recognize the difference between a mentor and a sponsor. Okay. So mentors will give advice, but they can't give you a new job. All right. They may say, hey, there's a job in my area or in my field, or at my place of employment, but they can't get you the job. A sponsor, that they can do that. So a sponsor would be more like, a boss or recruiter, or maybe an employer in a new industry. So just make sure that you understand the difference between the two. All right, so if you want to go to the next slide. When building a relationship with a mentor, again, make sure you do things like identify your goals, get to know your mentor. You can't just ask somebody to be a mentor when you know nothing about them and they know nothing about you. Be prepared. So mention what you like about the person's work. So if you do approach somebody that's in a field that you're looking to be in, let them know, like, hey, I've done my research and I really like how you created this new program, and that's something that I would like to do. And so let them know exactly why you're looking at them to be a mentor. And also know when it's time to move on. At some point, my main mentor, that was my professor and now my colleague, at some point it'll be time to move on. If I quit teaching through the university and I focus more on moving up in the fleet and family system, she may be able to still offer me advice, but she doesn't know anything about working with the Department of Navy. So then I need to find somebody that's going to help me in that area, like my boss. But also make sure that, when it's time to move on, you thank your mentor. Let them know everything that they've done to help you in your progress, and to help you move on. So be sure to express your gratitude throughout the entire relationship. I don't know how many times I've sat on panels with my mentor after I graduated, and we'd sit on panels, and somebody would ask me, like, well, hey, how did you get to where you are? And I would immediately point to her and say, because of this woman right here, and she's been my mentor, and she's really helped me move along to where I am today. And she's always embarrassed when I do that to her, but because she doesn't think it's a big deal. She's just always been there for me. And so make sure you thank your mentor and let them know how much you appreciate what they've done, and always keep them still informed. So I still, if I quit teaching in the university, I would still reach out to her and let her know how I'm doing. Hey, I went from New Orleans to Jacksonville, which is, our main hub. And so I would let her know these things and always keep in touch and find out how she's doing as well. If you want to move to the next slide. So some of the benefits to this mentor or mentee relationship, benefits for the mentor is, opportunities to develop and practice a personal style of leadership. And so, I'm just reading some of these off the slide. Personal satisfaction. I've become a mentor to some of my former students, writing letters of um, accommodations or letters of intent, and having that personal satisfaction knowing that you've tried to help somebody move forward to the goals that they have. Um, experience dealing with challenging situations. So these are things that you can develop as a mentor. Now, the mentee, the number one, I have to say, is definitely something that I gained as a benefit: improving self-confidence and self-esteem. Again, so I was the extrovert that, like, when I was young, I used to run around the neighborhood, and I would knock on people's doors if they were just moving in, and I would say, "Hi, do you have any kids?" And if they'd say no, I'd say, "Okay, well, my mom needs friends." So I was constantly doing things like that, but I didn't want to talk in front of people. So a mentor can really help you build that self-confidence. Job satisfaction, networking. We keep talking about networking, right? Well, having a mentor also can help lead you to network opportunities, because guess what? Having me talk or do anything at rallies or conferences, I met a lot of people, and people that were in the academic world and beyond. And so having that opportunity to network is something that a mentor can also help you with. All right, so if you want to move on to the next slide. There's challenges to mentoring, and I'm just going to cover a few of the challenges because, of course, I'm the one that's going to go over in time. Um, make sure you meet as scheduled. Use your calendar apps. If you talk to your mentor and you schedule a meeting to sit down and talk about your goals and what you've accomplished so far, treat it like it's a work meeting, because that's what it is. It's about your future. So make sure that you meet as scheduled. Understand the time commitment. So if either of you want to meet more frequently, you need to understand that may not work. So make sure that you fix a set schedule to move forward. The next one, your expectations. Make sure that you have realistic expectations. So unrealistic expectations and assumptions can really wreak havoc on this mentoring relationship. So don't go to your mentor with all this information and expect them to do everything for you. Make sure that you understand exactly what kind of support there is, and know that there are baby steps to move forward. An over dependence of a mentor. I've definitely heard horror stories where people have been like, well, I asked my mentor about this and they told me I should do this. There shouldn't be any, they told me to do this. It should be, we discussed this and they gave me some different perspectives, some different ideas. But the goal is that's what their job is you make the decision. They're not telling you what to do. And there are possibilities that you have this ineffective mentoring pair. So if, say, you are assigned a mentor, if it doesn't work, don't necessarily stay with that person, and let them know, I appreciate everything that you're doing, but I need to find somebody that is more focused on my goal of doing XYZ instead of whatever they're focused on. All right, so next slide.
Sorry.
It's
I
okay.
didn't realize I was there.
Yeah, I forgot I had that set up that way. So in order to show the true value of a mentor, I have the story of Francis Ford Coppola and George Lucas. So George Lucas, of course, we all know as the great Star Wars, right? He did the Star Wars series. Um, so he didn't rely what you know what the quote was that I found was he didn't rely on the Force. He had this mentor, and he always talks about his mentorship, how Francis Ford Coppola helped him, and so he met Francis Ford Coppola during an internship. So George Lucas was a student a student at a film school in the late '60s, and he was kind of off to a start. He had been awarded a scholarship through Warner Brothers, and that's where he met Francis Ford Coppola because they were working on this movie that Francis Ford Coppola was directing, and I've never seen it. It's called Finian's Rainbow, so I've never seen it, so I don't know, but that's where George Lucas started working with Francis Ford Coppola. And so they hit it off right away. And Lucas worked as Coppola's assistant on the next movie that they did. So then when Coppola created this production company called American Zoetrope, he appointed Lucas to the position of vice president because he was really impressed with the work that George Lucas was doing when he was working as his production assistant. So Coppola also turned around and produced Lucas's first film, American Graffiti, which I've never watched, but I've definitely heard of because they say it's a cult classic, right? And that was in 1973. So with this, working with Francis Ford Coppola, that's where Lucas started gaining this clout to be able to um, work on the Star Wars series. So mentoring played a huge role in George Lucas's life. And then if you think about it, even in the Star Wars roles, everything's about mentoring. Who mentored Luke Skywalker, right? First it was Obi-Wan Kenobi and then Yoda. So he had mentors. Even in the second three that was the prequel, Anakin was being mentored by Obi-Wan Kenobi and then by Emperor Palpatine, right? Who is, if I remember correctly, Darth Sidious. So his whole movie, even though we had this great story, it really focused on mentoring, and he's never been shy about giving the accolades to Francis Ford Coppola when it comes to being that mentor. So keep in mind when you talk to accomplished business owners about their success, most of them will tell you, hey, I had a great mentor that guided me to where I am. All right, so next slide. Another thing is be a mentor back. When you ask people, well, why don't you become a mentor? They may say things like, well, I don't really have the time. I wouldn't know what to say. I don't know if I have the right skills. We have the right skills, or else somebody wouldn't be asking you to be a mentor. So keep in mind that if someone's wanting you to mentor them, it's going to, first of all, help you be a better leader. It may help you learn more about the company or the profession because you get to see it through somebody else's eyes as you're helping them move forward. You get to achieve your own personal gains or career gains. And the most important thing to me is you're shaping the leaders of tomorrow. I mean, that's one thing that I loved about being a college professor and even doing what I'm doing now, helping people with employment, is you get to help shape leaders of tomorrow. And so one of my personal mantras is to the world you may be one person, but to one person you may be the world. And that sums up, I think, the whole mentor mentee relationship, because my main mentor, she's one person. And if I sat there and I came on here and I talked about Pam Kaler, you guys are going, who? I don't know her. She's not famous. She's not anything special, but she is to me because, again, I wouldn't be where I am today if it wasn't for her. And so keep in mind, being a mentor, you're shaping the leaders of tomorrow. So make the time, be a mentor. Go ahead and go to the next slide. So before becoming a mentor, just keep in mind things like the commitment to relationship building. You make sure you establish a relationship with your mentee. Make sure you check your bias. Not every mentor has the same background as their mentee. So make sure that you understand cultural sensitivity and know that your mentee may not have the same background as you. So make sure you examine your prejudices. We all have them. It's not a bad thing to understand that you have them. It's a bad thing to not work beyond that prejudice. So try to learn what your prejudices are and move forward and work beyond them, and then think deeply about your biases. So you want to commit to the relationship, you want to check your biases, and then you have to believe that you're going to make a difference, and you will. Trust me. The first time I had somebody come to me, I went, oh, how am I going to do that? Like, I don't know if I can do this, but I did. And it's definitely makes you feel like you can make a difference. So the final slide provides my contact information, email address, jamie.brunson@navy.mil. You can call me at the main line if you have any questions. I do a lot with employment, resume reviews, interviewing skills, and that's it for me.
Jamie, thank you so much. I cannot believe that you were at one point scared to speak.
I know, right?
Because you are just so passionate about this topic. So we're so thankful that you are giving your time with us today and to spend your Veterans Day with us and share this amazing information. Thank you so much. And for even offering up the topic, you're like, what, I think I had proposed something else and you were like, no, we need to do this.
Yes, because I honestly believe that having a mentor can really shape a person's lives, and having multiple mentors. But I'm living proof. Like I to this day, I'm constantly thanking my mentor for everything that she's done, because I do know that, maybe I would have moved on to be a lawyer. Maybe I would have continued down the path, but, she actually helped me get my first teaching job. Because the director of one of the regional campuses at Ohio University was talking about needing a sociology teacher. And she said, well, Jamie just completed her master's. And my director knew me because I had taken classes. I had taken a lot of classes at that campus. And so she went, oh, okay. So then she called me and said, hey, I understand you just completed your master's and you can teach sociology. And I went, yes. And so, yeah, I got the job. And so, mentors don't always help you get jobs like that, but they can definitely help you network to get jobs. So yeah, I really believe in the power of a mentor, and there's definitely value there. And if I have any clients call me and say, okay, well, can you help me find a mentor? Absolutely. I will definitely give you opportunities or advice to get a mentor.
Awesome. Well, we'll see if anyone has any questions. Please feel free to put them up in the chat box. I was going to ask you one more time. You mentioned a website for veterans specifically to find mentors. What was it again?
It was Veterati. It's called it's spelled VETARATI.com. And yeah, they have people that have volunteered to be mentors in all different fields. And some of them are veterans, some of them are just military friendly. And so you can go on there and you can just look at the group of mentors and choose one and contact them and say, hey, I'm a veteran, or I'm transitioning, or I'm a military spouse, and I really would like to find a mentor. And it is free for all veterans, transitioning military, or even military members and their spouses. So I mean, it really is a great place to go if you're unsure of having a mentor in your direct community. You can even start there. And LinkedIn, I know a couple people have mentioned LinkedIn. That's also a great way to network. And the more you network with somebody, you can also ask them to be a mentor as you network with them. And actually, that's how. Well, I can't say that's how I met Patrick, because I do a lot of work with Next Stop Vets, but we actually were in the same. We were actually in the same meeting or conference one day, and I said something about working with Fleet and Family. And so he sent me like a little personal message, and he said, hey, can I add you on LinkedIn? Because we'll be able to do a lot of work together. And so I said, yeah, absolutely. And so then that way we were kind of networking with each other. And so then when I found out about Veterati, I contacted him and said, hey, do you use Veterati? And so he said yes. And so he started giving me a lot of more information about Veterati. And so, yeah, now it's something that I would push, finding a mentor on there, or look within your own community, look within your own personal group of friends or colleagues. So
And like you
definitely.
said, you can have multiple, maybe one local, one more specific, but that you talk to virtually, since now with the pandemic, a lot is virtual. That's cool that we don't have to let locale limit that possibility. Um,
Absolutely.
so
Yes.
awesome. We do have a few comments. Let's see. Terry says, awesome job, Jamie. I'm going to find a mentor to help in the next phase of my life. So that's awesome. And
Yes.
Tiffany says, yes, this has been an amazing presentation. I'm definitely saving your contact information. Awesome.
Awesome.
Well, and it seems that you've answered all the questions because there are no questions.
Okay. Awesome.
So we want to also thank Fleet and Family for their partnership. We've been going strong for a few years now, and credit our Veterans Day events to this partnership with Fleet and Family. So we're just so appreciative, and that while you have all of Jamie's information right here, please be sure to save, and for those over on the base to go say hey to Jamie, and all of the amazing services that Fleet and Family um, uh, offer. It's so amazing.
And we are actually open to clients by appointment. So, if anyone did want to come in and talk to me about employment or networking, they can call the 504-678-7569 and schedule an appointment to come in and see me. And I look forward to fully opening up. Maybe we could do a Dress for Success class on base. I think that would be great. So I
Yes, for
definitely look
sure.
forward to continuing to work with you.
Awesome. Well, thank you. Thank you so much.